What's up, people? Welcome to your one-stop shop for the biggest wrestling stories this week. This is Wrestling Roundup Weekly. My name is Mex, also known as WrestleManiac UK, and I'm alongside my co-host Ignacio. And on today's episode, we are talking about everything that happened at Smackdown in regards to Charlotte and Becky, the fallout, what happened before the segment itself, after the segment, and what we know about it. We'll also discuss Impact Bound for Glory. We saw debutants come there and win titles, new titles be unveiled, new champions all over the gaff. So we're going to talk about that as well as kind of sum up our thoughts on Crown Jewel. This was the midweek Saudi Arabia pay-per-view put on by WWE. Sum up our thoughts of what we thought about that coming out of that. And then, of course, we will cover our highlights of the week. But first, guys, please remember to smash the like button and make sure you are subscribed to Wrestling Republic right here on YouTube. Ignacio, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. A lot of topsy-turvy things in the wrestling world. I'm gaining weight, and that's not necessarily good because Thanksgiving holidays are coming around, and Survivor Series is coming around, and that's probably going to make me gain more weight just by looking at what WWE is doing nowadays.
Okay, well, let's we already know they're going to do their brand on brand warfare a matter of weeks after, just moving people to new brands. Never doesn't make sense at all, but it's what we've come to expect from WWE. But we're also talking about WWE. Let's get started with today's first topic: Charlotte versus Becky, and this backstage non-physical altercation that has said to have happened. Now, from what I have heard in terms of all of like a round picture of this story, obviously they had announced they're going to do this title exchange. Becky, the SmackDown Women's Champions, going over to Raw. Charlotte, the Raw Women's Champions, going over to SmackDown. They were going to have this title exchange. Now, it has been said that before the actual segment on SmackDown, Charlotte was not happy with this. Possibly Becky wasn't happy with it either. But Charlotte definitely wasn't happy about it. She had voiced her opinions, and she basically said to avoid this rubbish exchange, she would have rather just lost the title to Bianca Belair on Monday. And it's been said that, and that's the previous Monday on Raw when she faced Bianca Belair and ended in a no DQ. And it's been said that she actually pitched that at the time as well, to lose to Bianca Belair so that they wouldn't have to do this exchange. The exchange segment went ahead anyway. Charlotte, I was even saying to myself as I watched it live, I said, Charlotte looks incredibly checked out. Like, she looks like she just doesn't care for what's happening here. And I would say that Becky looked very pissed off with what was about to happen, sort of thing. So you could tell, I think most people could tell anyway, just looking at both women in the segment, this wasn't what it should be. Sonya Deville also seemed very kind of, in her explanation of what was about to happen, she seemed embarrassed. She seemed like, oh, well, yeah, you're the champion of here. You're the champion of here. Swap titles and let's get out of here. That's very much how Sonya delivered it. And then we saw the kind of petulance between Charlotte kind of throwing the title down, which she claims that she didn't mean to throw the Raw Women's title on the floor. She says it fell out her hand. It pretty much looked like a throw to me. But and then basically what was supposed to happen, because of course earlier in the night they had teased the Becky 2 belts thing. Becky was actually supposed to grab both belts and hold them above her head, and Charlotte was supposed to like pull one back or something along those lines. And obviously we saw nothing like that. Charlotte threw this belt to one side. Sonya Deville literally came out of character and said, pick that up. Obviously Sonya Deville must have been aware of, what had happened earlier on backstage. And then, Becky then kind of threw her title into Charlotte's chest. Charlotte said whatever she said on the mic, which prompted Sasha Banks to come out. And they had their little kind of, kerfuffle. Becky said that whoever is champion, I'll see you at Survivor Series. It was just a complete rubbish ending to the show. And then backstage, it's been said that there was a further altercation between the two women. Again, a non-physical altercation. And yeah, they were just basically saying that's not what was planned. Why did you throw the title down? Why did you throw the title at me? And they had to be separated. Charlotte has been kind of keeping herself away from the rest of the roster at the time. Apparently, Charlotte left more or less immediately to fly to Orlando for Andrade's showing on AEW Dynamite. And that was like common knowledge. So there might be something in that somewhat. And yeah, Charlotte, that usually greets Vince after her matches, after her segments, completely just walked past him in gorilla position. So kind of a lot to digest, but all in all, you can just see rubbish ideas are frustrating, some of the roster members. From your understanding and from you seeing obviously what happened on SmackDown, what's your opinion of it all?
Well, a lot to digest, but like you said, well, first of all, what I understand is so they're both mad at the same person, essentially, right? They were both mad at Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Right? And these are the two top women, not only in the company, but the two top female wrestlers, performers in the business.
Most likely,
arguably, or not arguably, or whatever. They are.
It's true.
They absolutely are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're mad at the same person, you're the two top stars in the business. Right now, WWE has a little bit of an issue called AEW. Looking at him straight in the face right now and saying, fuck you. How come these two people, powerful people in the business, can't get together and say, hey, you know what? We don't like this shit. We're not going to do it. And what are you going to do? Not in these words, okay? Not in these words, of course. But you know what? We don't like this shit. Well, we're not going to do it. We need to find something else to do because this doesn't make any sense. What's Vince McMahon going to do? He's going to release Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, both of them, the two top female stars in the business. That's what I don't understand. And then, what happened in the ring happened on SmackDown. And then they go backstage and they had a kerfluffle with each other, a altercation, non-physical, you say, with each other. I think Natalya came out on her Twitter or something and said something it was getting ugly. She had to get in between them. Why were they going at each other? They don't hate the same person. They disagreed with the same person, not with each other. I guess what bled out in the ring, what happened in the ring, they were both frustrated and upset with the situation. They kind of took it out on each other on live TV and so forth, and then it bled over backstage when they were both mad at the same person. But apparently Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, the two top, the man who comes off as the man and a fucking badass, but when she comes face to face with Vince McMahon, I don't know, her man balls turn into corn kernels and she can't step up to him. And I guess the same thing with fucking Charlotte Flair. How come they can't get together and be like, we need to change this. This doesn't make any sense, and it's not going to make our fans happy. It doesn't make the people in the back, the other wrestlers happy. It doesn't make the staff, the crew happy. This isn't making anybody happy. Why would we have to do this? And I'm pretty sure they would have said, okay, what do you all want to do? Bring up something, and then let's work on it. But no, I guess you said Charlotte Flair tried to bring, switch the title to Bianca. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, they didn't. I'm pretty sure they should have the two most powerful female wrestlers in the business could have gone to Vince McMahon and whoever else and said, we're not going to do this. We need to do something else. We'll do whatever you want, just not this, because it doesn't make sense. We'll have a match. We'll lose to whoever. They could have had two separate matches and lost their titles to respective opponents or whatever, other than what happened. So, yeah, I don't know. Apparently, according to Natalya, she didn't like it either. Nobody liked it. So,
yeah, I think more than anything, and I think this was something that Charlotte, it's been said, it was part of Charlotte's argument, is that it's detrimental to their characters. Like, this one is called the man, this one is called the queen. And you can see both of their attitudes on TV are basically portraying as people that have stink attitudes. Why are they going to stand in a ring and swap titles? Furthermore, they hate each other. They have recently been up against each other. They've been in segments with each other and involved with each other for the past 3-4 weeks. Why are they just going to stand in the ring and swap? And there is a lot in here that has come to light that, I do agree with Charlotte. And, I don't necessarily agree with how she conducted herself on TV in the actual segment, because obviously by the time you're in front of a live camera, you just have to do business, don't you? That's just what it is. But yeah, I do think like she's got some valid points if what has come out is true as to how this should have been organized better backstage. The other thing I forgot to mention earlier was, if you notice, both women were in ring gear. So when I think Charlotte proposed, let's do like a winner takes all match or something, I thought, okay. I looked at the clock, there's about 8 minutes left. I thought, okay, maybe they'll do something like that. But then, like, it's like Becky missed a beat in the promo or whatever and just kind of ignored that. So I don't know if that was actually meant to be a match, or because, like I said, you usually see Charlotte comes out in her cat suits and you see Becky comes out with one of her big, loud, obnoxious jackets. They're never wearing just ring gear for something like this. So the fact they were wearing ring gear, maybe, you know, something was meant to happen, but they ran out of time or whatever the case was. Or, yeah, because the segment was just, you know, blowing. They basically sent out Sasha to just end it all. Who knows? But my next point on this is that I genuinely, and I'm not someone, obviously, I'm nowhere near Charlotte. I don't know her personally, but I genuinely have seen a shift in Charlotte's character, demeanor, since the Andrade stuff started happening with WWE. And now, obviously, Ric Flair left the company by his own, you know, he wanted to leave. But then, obviously, they've removed Ric Flair from certain media because of the Dark Side of the Ring episode that aired a month ago or so. Do you think, because this is what I think personally, do you think that Charlotte is possibly just becoming a bit disinterested with this company, knowing that my fiance is not here, my dad's not here? If they sack me, if I leave, I could just go elsewhere. Do you think there's a part of her that's kind of just checked out?
Yeah, that could be that could be part of it. Not only that, well, I'll build on what you're saying, and you know, they didn't want to help out Andrade with his program or his contract or what have you. Did they release him, or his contract ran out?
So he was injured. He came back from injury. They said they didn't have plans for him on the main roster. Triple H says, I love you, come back to NXT. Andrade said, I love you too, but NXT is a backwards move for me. I don't want to go back to NXT. And he said, well, if they don't have anything for me, let me leave my contract. They said, no, we're not letting you leave. Charlotte basically went on hiatus. In not so many words, she basically said, I'm not wrestling, or, you know, until we sort this out and you let him leave without a 90-day clause, then yeah, you've basically lost me as well. So then they let Andrade leave.
Well, yeah. I mean, that just goes back to the fact that with a talent like, they don't know what to do with a talent like Andrade. So, you know, that explains that. The happenings with Ric Flair and you know, the parting of the ways, and then releasing them from their media intros and cold openings and stuff like that they moved them from. I mean, that just comes with the formality with the stuff that came out on Dark Side of the Rings, which we won't get into. But you know, that everybody was saying that AEW had something set up for him prior to the Dark Side of the Ring stuff coming out. So you're going to be mad at AEW now? I mean, come on. That nowadays, it has to be a formality until things blow over or other things come to light, and so on and so forth. He gets relieved of these allegations or whatever, but the things like that are formalities now, you know. So she's got to understand that. But so yeah, but those things you mentioned, that can be part of it. What can be part of it also is she's the 13 time world champion, female world champion, or 12-time champion now. Yeah. And she might want to go to 16 just so she can match her father or whatever. But she might be thinking, also, other than Rhea Ripley and maybe Raquel Gonzalez, who I think is very good in NXT. Who else does she have? I mean, what else is there for her to do there? You know what I mean? So that might be another thing that comes up. You know what? That's why she probably says, you know what? You don't want to do what I suggest or do what I want to do or whatever. Well, fuck you then. Well, I'm going to throw the belt down and all this stuff. And to say that she didn't mean to throw the belt was bullshit. She was upset. She fucking threw it. And, you know, this is bullshit, whatever. This is why the other team on the other side, you know, is kicking our ass because we do bullshit like this. And she might get frustrated. She might be frustrated with that stuff too. You know what I mean? And character-wise, I think as far as character-wise, the past couple months. She's doing the best promos that she's probably ever done, promo wise. In ring work, it's always been great. She's the best of all time. That's in the female division, like all time ever. And you know, I don't think you can dispute that. But she's had now she has this thing with Becky Lynch, this kerfuffle with Becky Lynch, and she had a thing with Nia Jax. So I think these frustrations that she's feeling with the WWE, it's starting to melt over or bleed over into her work. You know,
yeah.
So that's bad. That becomes it becomes toxic, right? But it goes in with the toxic environment that WWE creates.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, yes, you have to be, everybody's in control of their own emotions and so forth, right? But I mean, when you're telling your superiors, your boss, like, hey, I don't like this stuff, can we do something different? And they just flat out tell you no, or give you the runaround or whatever, you know, I mean, it's frustrating, especially for a talent like her, that she's on top of the world. And she should have some stroke, if not any, if any, you know. But I mean, they keep on telling her, "No, fuck that. We're not gonna listen to you. You gotta say what we write. You gotta do what we say, and so forth, and whatever." And it's just shit. It's fucking frustrating, you know.
Yeah, it definitely must be. But yeah, you know, sometimes you're at work, and generally, I think this is just people in general. You're at work, and just to keep your job and keep the peace, you basically, you know, eat shit and just stay quiet, sort of thing. But I think now she's really. I just feel like I'm seeing her on air come to the end of her tether. Like she just can't. She's not willing to put up with the BS anymore, and that's why she's probably speaking out and letting her actions just play out. And to a certain extent, she's probably knows I'm Charlotte Flair. I can get away with this. You know, I if anyone can get away with this, it's me, and they won't reprimand me until I do something maybe serious. So she's maybe trying her luck a bit. But like I said, I feel
the limits.
Pushing the limit,
finding
exactly.
out what she can get away with, which is if her Becky Lynch did it together, like I said, they could probably
that's a good idea,
have something there. But when one of them says, "Well, fuck this, it's Vince McMahon," I'll just fucking back down, whatever, go back and cry in my locker room or whatever, just, you know. But I mean, yeah, both of them together, if they came up together, and then that situation would have been like, let's just do something else. Cut out a segment of the show. Yeah. Let's have a match. Let's have a couple of matches. We'll drop the titles, whatever. And, you know, then we'll handle it that way. And then everybody can go on their merry way. Because I don't think Charlotte really gives a shit anymore whether she's champion or not. She's the top dog. She knows it. She's the real queen, not cosplay queen, Selena Vega. We'll get into that a little bit later on probably. And Becky Lynch, if you want, in reality, I think the titles mean more when they're on superstars like that. Charlotte and Becky, obviously, they mean more. They're legitimate champions. But like Becky Lynch can just go on her own, Survivor on her own, just based on her character. Even though I don't agree with the timing of them trying to turn her heel or something like that. Yeah. I mean, she can just make it on her own as a character. She doesn't need the title. You know, probably you could say the title needs her more than anything else.
Yeah, very interesting. I think over the next weeks, well, it seems like for Survivor Series, we'll probably circle back around to Charlotte versus Becky at Survivor Series. You know, we'll have a look out to see if we see any like shoot punches or anything like that play out. But yeah, there's always seemed to be a kind of real competitive edge between them. Even Charlotte's promo on the show, it was very not relevant. It's like, oh, pretends that the title is my bag that you are carrying for the first half of your career and hand it over to me or something like that. And it's just really like, okay, like, is there something more than just you know, wrestling and what is playing out? And someone was telling me that on the Renee Paquette podcast some weeks ago, Renee had asked Charlotte, who was a guest, are you and Becky okay? Which would, you know, I don't know whether that's laying seeds for obviously what we've seen play out now, or if there was actually like an underlying issue between them. I have to look at that myself and verify it. But
well, Sasha, if you go back and listen to Sasha Banks on Stone Cold's on the Broken Skull Sessions when she came out. I mean, she even said it herself that the 4 horsewomen professionally, the 4 horsewomen were the 4 horsewomen in NXT or whatever. They were professionally, they got along, but really the only BFFs or whatever were her and Bayley. And then Sasha and Becky were just kind of there. They all got along, but professionally. But the only ones that were really close were her and Bayley, and then Charlotte and Becky just kind of filled in the blanks there. And there were the 4 best women,
the 4 best
talents, probably the 4 best talents overall there, and then definitely the best women wrestlers in the world. So they weren't, maybe professionally they respected each other, but I mean they weren't best friends or whatever, which you don't have to be. But I mean, now professionally they're not getting along, and that can cause a further toxic environment if your 2 top female talents at least can't get along professionally. That can erode into the product or in the in-ring stuff, and that can go bad.
A lot to unpack there. I'm sure within the next week or so we'll probably see some more on it. Becky's now on Raw, Charlotte on Smackdown, and like I say, we're going towards Survivor Series towards the end of November. So we'll see how that plays out. Whilst we're still on WWE, let's talk about Crown Jewel. Firstly, we saw, obviously, in terms of the big news coming out, we saw King and the Queen crowned, King of the Ring, Queen's Crown tournament. We spoke about last week when we done our predictions about Dewdrop possibly winning because of, sensitive kind of reasons and, to give a feel good moment and stuff like that. But I'm quite happy Zelina's won it just because I feel like they're not going to take this seriously. It's a gimmick thing, and she'll probably do a better job with the gimmick than Dewdrop. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's just all. I mean, the gimmick itself, it's. Excuse me. Even when Booker T did it, I mean, it's just dated. It's just it's a dated gimmick. It's cosplay stuff, and that's perfect for Selena because she likes all that crap, and no one's gonna take her seriously because ever since all this stuff she said about WWE when they fucking released her, and then they brought her back because she saw the money, nobody's ever gonna take her seriously again. So they fix her perfectly. It's cosplay crap. Same thing with Xavier, King Xavier. It's just cosplay gimmick stuff that they're gonna flaunt on TV and further ruin the product and drop down the ratings, and nobody's gonna take them seriously, and it's bullshit. This and that. First of all, not in 1,000 years that anybody believed that Xavier Woods can actually beat Ben Balor. No way. I mean, like, I'll say this. I will say this, that if the one who I thought would shine out of New Day, out of all 3 of them, they would have turned him heel, and it could probably still be salvageable, would be Xavier Woods because he's got great mic skills.
Yeah.
And I think if they turned him heel, he can be a great heel. But, I mean, he doesn't want to be a heel. It'll probably affect or at least he thinks it'll affect his what does he have, a Twitch or something where he does the video game stuff?
And his podcast
or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he doesn't want to do it. But I mean, I think he has the potential to be a great heel if they decided to turn. Out of all 3 of them, I thought he had the most potential to take that next step, become a top heel and so forth. But he didn't want to do it. He'd rather do this, play around with throw around cereal and donuts and fucking pancakes or whatever the fuck. So I don't know. Much ado about nothing for me. This not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I think we'll see. I think with Xavier, we haven't had a face King of the Ring for a while. So, we'll see. I think there might be even something in turning him and Kofi heel, or he gets too big for his boots and Kofi tries to, remind him he's not a real king. And there's stories there they can tell. I think also as well, the move to make him King of the Ring is a bit of a singles run, because I think I've heard that Kofi and his partner are expecting, so Kofi might be off TV for a while. So this will give Xavier a chance to just kind of be king and have a little singles run on his own. But yeah, we'll see how that turned out. In terms of other stuff that happened on the show, I think what did you think of Edge, Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell?
I thought it It was good. It was good. I thought maybe it ran a little long, but it was good. They told a good story, and I expected this out of them. I mean, they're both veterans. They both know what they're doing. They know how. They both know how to tell a story. They're both good at ring psychology, etc., etc. Everybody knew that they knew what to do, and if allowed, that they were going to have a good match, and they did have a good match. It was a good match. I'll go a step further and say about this pay-per-view. It wasn't a bad pay-per-view. It was pretty solid. It probably was their best pay-per-view of the year, but it was pretty solid, right? Predictable, yes, but I mean, it was the in-ring stuff was good.
It was good, yeah.
For me, my opinion, I think it was probably the second best match of the night. Excuse me, just because of the people involved, the story they told. Edge finishing off Seth Rollins with his finish. I'll disagree with who went over. I think Seth Rollins should have went over to kind of build him up going to Raw.
Yeah.
So he can be Big E's next challenger.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been good because Edge is probably going to be off TV for a while. That kind of bothers me a little bit. That's why it kind of bothered me a little bit. But I mean, this guy went over. He's going to be off TV for a while. You know, who's he going to feud with next or whatever? He's already done his program with Roman Reigns and so forth and so on. So his next match is probably going to be an attraction match with somebody. I mean, who knows who? And then you go back with Seth Rollins. I mean, he's jumping over to Raw where he's not taking a break. He's going to be a staple there. Why not give him the win, build him up for Big E, so forth and so on, because they want Big E to be a top guy.
Yeah.
Because right now he's a B player with a top title. So, but I mean, I wasn't mad at the match. The match was good. To me, it's a Hell in a Cell match. So of course they're gonna have all the gimmicks and stuff like that. And I decided to have an open mind because of the people involved, and it was good. They both did very well. I was very happy with it.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I think one thing that just frustrates me with this story between Edge and Seth is that how they've done the draft. They've said, okay, this is the trilogy. This is the end of the feud with these guys. But Edge is going over to Raw, and Seth Rollins is going over to Raw. And if Edge is around, obviously we assume he won't be, but if he is, WWE will be WWE, and they'll be lazy, and they'll say, "Oh, rematch from Saudi Arabia," and they'll give us this match again. So we'll see. I assume that you said that was the second best match on the night. The first best match, the women's match, triple threat.
With Becky and Bianca
and Sasha.
No, I took points off of that one because it's a triple threat match, and it's just I don't like it. And just even though you had the two best probably in the world right now, in Becky and Charlotte, and then you had the up and comer Belair. They just don't work. You know, I don't know. It was good though. Again, it was good. It was a great match. They all worked really hard. Right, and Becky came out with the win, and so forth and so on. So there's still a story there to tell with Becky and Bianca, right? Because they're both on Raw.
Yeah.
So I could see them. I don't have a problem with their program. I can still see them go. And Bianca Belair, she's still building her confidence. Her you can tell her promos are getting a little bit better. You know, she's getting that confidence. You know, she's starting to talk, getting comfortable with her character. The more she gets exposed on TV, and you know, the more chance she gets to talk. And maybe they stop instead of writing out her promos and just giving her bullet points and saying, "Hey, just make sure you hit this, and that." You know, and just watch the language or whatever, and then you're good. I think she'll get more comfortable herself with promos and so forth. And she's still developing as a talent. I'll give her that. But yeah, they still have a good program to go through. The best match for me, just because of the story being told, and not a lot of people like the finish, but I didn't mind the finish. Like I said, it didn't matter. To me, it didn't matter what the finish was because I knew this wasn't the first and only match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. We're still going to see at least one, maybe even two more. And I wouldn't be mad at that because so far it's a great program. The best match for me, because it was the best story being told, was Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. And we still have an indefinite conclusion to what Paul Heyman was trying to do with that title belt. So my question is that why does Roman Reigns still keep him around if this guy who's trying to help him is can't decide? Look, it was just the best story being told going into the pay-per-view. It's probably the best story being told all year. Yeah. Brock sold his ass off. Brock does what Brock does best. His facials, his reactions. It's like when he did the F5 on Roman and he hit the referee and then he goes down to pin him. He sees the referee down and he just did that. What the fuck? Like, he said it on his face. His facials are great. When he's serious, he's serious. What he does really well. And same thing with Roman Reigns. He did really well. Paul Heyman. I mean, it just all came together, and it was good for what it was because it was intended to extend the story, right? So we're not going to see it at Survivor Series because that's left for the brand versus brand deal. And Brock Lesnar's not gonna wrestle in a TLC match. And I think they canceled that pay-per-view this year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But so they'll probably have another one at the Royal Rumble, and we'll see what they do then. But that was number one for me. Number two was Seth and Edge, and then number three was the three-way with the three women. But let me ask you, what did you think? What did you think about Mansoor and Ali? They had a good little match. I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, I do think it was a good match. They had, I think, the better match happened on Smackdown on Friday, because they done that again. But yeah, I think it was a very good match. I was kind of surprised. The crowd didn't seem as hot for Mansoor as previous years. And I feel like maybe that's because where he's been on TV more up to this moment, they're more used to him. One, obviously before when he was just at NXT and he wasn't even really being shown on NXT TV, then he'll just come out at Saudi and win a Battle Royal or something like that. And then there was almost like there was nothing on the line. And this goes back to if you remember, I was saying instead of having these two go up against each other, they should have been as a tag team going for the tag team titles, win the titles in Saudi, so we at least get a title change on the show, because we didn't even get a title change on the show. And they could have done it in a sneaky way, which would have put Mansoor over with Ali, because that's what Ali's been trying to teach him the entire time. And then we could have got new champions. And that allows someone like Randy Orton to then, maybe the split with Riddle, that can play out, and then Randy Orton could be a possible future challenger for Big E or someone like that. But generally it was a good match. It was a good match. And then obviously we saw the karate player come out afterwards as well and have his little cameo in Saudi Arabia too.
Michael Cole. Fucking Michael Cole. He's a karate player. The fucking guy's a silver medalist or something. He could probably kick everybody in the whole locker room's ass. Probably the exception of Brock Lesnar. But I thought that it was to pop the people, right? It was everybody knew who he was there. So because he's probably come some quasi celebrity there. So I mean, that was cool, right? Just to pop the people. But I think, man, can you imagine if Mansoor and Ali, if they would have gotten one over on RK Bro and won the belts, what kind of pop that would have. They would have got there. That would have been pretty cool to see. But I wasn't mad at it. It was a good match. They both worked really hard. They sold. They actually sold. It was just in like boom, high spot, and then
high spot. Yeah.
No, it was they did really good. I wasn't mad at it. I liked it. It was good.
Yeah. And like yourself, I enjoyed the Lesnar and Reigns match because of just everything that's happened as well. I thought Reigns, he looked absolutely so tired on SmackDown, but he came out early, done what he needed to do, and got out of there, I'm guessing. Obviously, he got attacked by Brock. Brock's been written off TV now through the suspension by beating up everybody. So, I think we may see Brock Lesnar win the Royal Rumble. It's possible. Okay. Maybe that's how he gets back around to Reigns.
That's cool. I wouldn't be mad at that. That'd be pretty cool. Everybody said that. And there was a lot of people saying that Brock Lesnar was blown up during the match. I didn't think so. I didn't think so. Fine. He looked a lot leaner than he usually came out. He looked in tremendous shape at 40, whatever he is, 3 or 4 or whatever. I mean, he's in tremendous shape. Like I said, anything involving these two guys with Paul Heyman in the middle of it, it's not going to be bad. If it goes to the Royal Rumble, fine. If Brock wins the Royal Rumble, that'd be fine because he's the only one that anybody can fucking take seriously now. True.
It's true.
There you have it.
But yeah, I always say that Brock Lesnar is terribly underrated. I hate the notion of when people just say, "Oh, he does his suplex." Like, this guy is a fantastic sports entertainer. Like, even from, back when he started, 2002, 2003, Brock Lesnar was amazing then. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just fresh into the game, and obviously he went off, tried American football, done the UFC things, come back in now. He's more than just this suplexing machine. He is. You can see that they wouldn't put him into the main event if he was, wasn't able to at least talk somewhat, could go tell stories, like you said, the facials, the ring psychology of it all. Like, I think he needs to be given more flowers than he gets. I don't think he gets the credit anywhere near he should.
Oh yeah, back then when he started in 0203, I mean, he was an athletic phenomenon with with the stuff he can do and the stuff that the stuff we haven't seen or didn't get a chance to see, and the stories that used to come out about him in OVW and the stuff he used to do there, the shooting star press, and all that stuff that he tried to do and almost fucking killed himself. But I mean, yeah, he was an athletic phenomenon, and now, he just can be taken seriously because of the UFC, the NCAA heavyweight title that he won, and all this stuff. He's a legitimate shooter. Little bit of stuff he did in Japan and everything. So, I mean, who else can you take seriously in that company other than Brock Lesnar, that they haven't made a fucking total goof like Riddle, right? And because he's a legitimate shooter too. But then he's just, well, I'm gonna act like this because they're gonna let me, and they're not gonna let me be serious, and hopefully that'll change soon. Because I really like Riddle, right? But
he is. Yeah, Riddle's very good, but for him to take the next step up, there will have to be maybe a bit of a shift in character. But let's leave the shores of WWE and let's go over to Impact, because we had Bound for Glory pay-per-view last night, and I'm yet to watch this, but I've come across a couple things, and from what I can see from the outside, it's almost like wholesale changes. We have a new women's tag champions, and that's the Inspiration that just debuted. This was their first match, and they won the women's tag championships and knockouts championships. I think it was fairly obvious they were going to win. But yeah, there we are. Jordan Grace has won this new, and correct me if I'm wrong, the digital championship, the digital media championship, or
I didn't hear about that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know what this is. I was coming to ask you what this is. I think this is some type of mid-card belt. I saw, like I said, from clips, she was wrestling men and females for this. Like, it almost looked like it was like a gauntlet match sort of thing, but I do need to watch it back and understand what this is. And the whole digital title thing, I think it's a horrible name. Like, I don't even know what the title was meant to be.
Is it supposed to be their version of the 24/7 title? Maybe.
I don't know if it's 24/7 or if I don't know if it's like a mid card, like an open challenge kind of belt. Okay. I don't know at all. But I just think calling it the digital media title or whatever it's called, I just think it's absolutely horrible.
Yeah, let's stop talking about it. We're giving it more time than it deserves.
And then, of course, we had the championship match for the Impact Championship. Christian defending against Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander thought he had realized his dream, becoming champion after actually beating Christian. And then Moose came out, cashed in his opportunity on Josh Alexander, and pinned Josh Alexander in front of his missus and his son after a spear to become the Impact champion. Give us your thoughts on that kind of swerve. Josh Alexander not walking out as champion after it all.
I don't like it because I like Josh Alexander. I liked him since he was with Ethan Page in the North. I thought they were a great pair, and I was hoping that I don't really understand what happened. Ethan Page signed with AEW, right? And I think Alexander decided to stay with Impact.
I think Ethan Page's contract came up, and Josh Alexander's wasn't coming up yet. So yeah.
Okay, but I really like Josh Alexander, even though they had that big long run with the tag titles. I always thought he was going to be a great superstar on his own, and Ethan Page too, for that matter. And I was glad to see for at least a moment he got his comeuppance and won the world title from a great talent. The Christian, first of all, isn't Christian's like the MVP of like the year? He main evented WWE. He's main evented on AEW. And now he's fucking for what it's worth. He's main evented on Impact. So
he was only in the Royal Rumble for WWE. He didn't main event anything.
He was in the Royal Rumble match.
Yeah.
The main event at the Royal
Okay.
Rumble.
That's what you mean. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, you get what I'm saying. But yeah, you beat Christian, you beat a legitimate talent, and I really like Moose. I like Moose. He re-signed with TNA. I guess he just feels fucking comfortable there because you can't tell me that NXT at least or WWE or even AEW didn't take a shot at him. They had to have.
NXT definitely made offers for him, and he chose Impact over NXT.
And I guess I don't know. He must be really loyal. They're paying him really well, or where he feels comfortable, and maybe he can still do indie stuff, and maybe that was it. I don't know. I don't understand, but he's really good. His mic skills have gotten a lot better. His in-ring skills, most absolutely. A lot of people went back to that Kenny Omega match that he had, and I just think sometimes it just happens where it wasn't a bad match, but I mean it was just there's some things here and there, but I mean it's just the chemistry. Sometimes it just guys just don't mesh well. It doesn't mean that one guy is worse than the other or they suck or whatever. He's a really great talent, and so I just didn't want to see him win the title that way. I think it should have been more. If anybody was going to knock off Kenny Omega for the Impact title, I think it should have been him, but not so early. But I mean, yeah, I really like Moose. I just wouldn't have had him win the title that way. The way they did it I thought was pretty cool, good. I like that story aspect of it. But yeah, as far as the players involved, Christian Cage needs to concentrate on AEW now. They should have put him in that title eliminator tournament, and that would have given some more legitimacy. Josh Alexander can now, he can chase Moose for the title, and I think that's going to be a good little program. But dang, Impact, it just seems like Impact does this every year where they hit the reset button and they have like a mass happening of title changes in hopes that somebody's going to carry the torch and lead the way. I think at this point, Impact, they're just trying to stay afloat. They're not going to beat the two big dogs right now. So they're just trying to stay afloat, but they do produce good talent. I mean, you got Moose there, you got Alexander, you got Trey Miguel, who I like.
He won the X Division title.
Yeah, they got Trey Miguel. I think he's a great talent. He's got WWE written all over him. You'll see him there.
How come he didn't go with MSK?
I don't know. Was his contract up or?
Yeah, all of them was up, and he resigned. Really? Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what happened there, but I mean,
maybe the creative they offered him was rubbish.
Maybe, I don't know. MSK, I don't really care too much for him, but I mean, Trey Miguel, yeah, I really like him. He's good in my book. Eventually he'll be a superstar when he decides to take the money or whatever, I guess. But they got talent here and there. They're good. It's just them getting the opportunity to go somewhere else because Impact definitely isn't going anywhere.
Yeah. I think I also saw that this particular pay-per-view, Bound for Glory, is signaling the end of the AEW Impact relationship. And then obviously, like we have seen, Christian drop the title to Josh Alexander, an Impact talent. Obviously, he's not champion right now, but yeah. So if this is the end of the AEW Impact relationship, what's your overall thoughts on it, on how it went?
I mean, it didn't. I don't think at the end everything just kind of evened out. It didn't raise Impact much, even as Kenny Omega as the champion. I think they had their lowest rated show of the year when Kenny was the champion. It just didn't elevate them much. You got to see some interesting matchups like Christian and Alexander, like Moose and Kenny Omega. It didn't really work out, but I mean, it was all right for what it was. The whole breaking the third wall or going through the magic door or what was it? What do they call it?
Yeah, forbidden door.
The forbidden door or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it was okay for what it was. I mean, you saw some interesting matchups. It's good to see. It's good to see that companies can actually work together.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
And I don't think talent trading. I don't think it's not a bad thing. It's good. I think New Japan needs to do their part in providing better talent. Jay White showed up on Impact. I thought he was going to make a appearance on AEW. He didn't. Maybe they couldn't work something out there, but I just think it definitely didn't help, but it didn't hurt AEW. It helped Impact maybe a little bit, but not significantly enough where they got more viewers or the eyeballs that they did get when Kenny Omega was the champion and Christian Cage was the champion.
Yeah,
didn't stay or not gonna stay. They're just gonna go back to watching AEW. You know what I mean? They're not gonna get access, or what are they on TV to watch Impact? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I expected a lot more from the partnership in terms of at least talent trades, showcasing Impact talents on AEW TV. Just it never seemed to happen. It was the AEW guys always kind of going over there in Kazarian. What's his name? Daniels is over there right now. Christian as champion, Kenny Omega as champion, Sammy Guevara. He rejected it because the creative they offered him was rubbish, he says.
Look at that. Sammy Guevara, the smallest guy, one of the smallest guys in the wrestling business, or as far as stature or whatever, he has bigger balls than anybody. Sammy Guevara would probably go to Vince McMahon and tell him to fuck you. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, he spoke his mind and said, I don't like it. We're not going to do it. And then, because it didn't make sense to him. I think he was going to win the X Division title and just hand it away or something.
Yeah, I can't remember what they offered him, but yeah, he said I'm not doing it, and he left the tapings basically. Which they said AEW said they weren't very happy about how it was all handled and stuff. But people are out here. They work hard to create their characters. They want to protect their characters, so it has to make sense for their character as well. And he didn't want to do it, and fair dues. But yeah, generally, I just don't think that this partnership was maybe all what we were kind of told it would be, especially for the Impact guys. I just feel like AEW just had another place to send talent so they can maybe keep them active whilst they weren't on AEW TV. Yeah.
And then Tony, rest assured that Tony Khan he kept his eye on some talent on Impact that he's going to nitpick. I think Deonna Purrazzo is another one, who just lost the title to Mickie James. She's absolutely she's awesome. She's great. She'd be a great addition to their women's division. I mean, imagine her with Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. And
she's gone. She is gone. The minute her contract is up, she is out of the door because she knows how good she is. The whole world knows how good she is.
Yeah, she's not. WWE's not even gonna. Number one, she's probably not. They're probably not on her radar because they don't know what to do with her for the beginning.
She was there before, if you remember. She was there.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't use her. They didn't have something for her, and she left.
Saying like even if she left Impact and WWE heard about it, they wouldn't know what to do with her in the first place. It's probably not on her radar. Their radar. So there's only one other place to go. So there you go.
Yeah. It'll be a very easy transition for her to go over to AEW and stuff. And like you said, the competition is there. We'll see. I think, like I said, I think they've announced that is kind of the end of the partnership, but we'll see if anything else comes of that or any other news comes of that in the next couple of weeks. Let's talk about it before we leave today. Highlights of the week. I would say the triple threat match at that Saudi show for the women's Smackdown title was one of the highlights of the week for myself. We've come a long way from, and I'm not going to get into the politics of Saudi Arabia and what they believe in and all their, humanity stuff over there. But we've come a long way from women not even being allowed on this show to, if you remember back, Renee Young at least being allowed to commentate on one of the shows, but she was like totally covered in terms of her dress. And then we got finally one women's match. I think on this particular show we had maybe 3 women's matches, definitely 2 in the Queen's Crown and the tournament match. And it's just the level of these ladies, like I say, the Beckys and the Sashas putting together a great match. Bianca almost being mentored through these matches by these two wrestlers and putting on a great showing. So I just feel like it's a good win, you know, although the division generally is still booked more or less in a very rubbish way. They know who the stars of the division are, and they always let them shine. They trust them to go out there and shine. So yeah, I thought that women's match was highlight of the week, as well as on SmackDown. I would say Roman's whole acting like he was fine and not scared of Brock Lesnar before Brock Lesnar eventually came out. I thought Roman was terrific before, you know, Brock Lesnar came out and basically kicked his ass. But yeah, those are my highlights of the week. What about yourself?
Well, that was good. It's, you know, it's not the same highlight of the week. I don't have it, but I mean, the women's match, yeah, it was great. You know, like I said, you had 3 great female talents, 2 of the best that have ever done it before, or the top 2 that have ever done it before, so forth and so on. It was a great match, and it's a testament. They know their value.
Yeah,
like you said, they know their value. So that's good. It was a tremendous match, but I mean, it just the triple threat. Anyway, so my highlight of the week, it was a match. It was a first round match in the AEW, the Eliminator. And it was Bryan Danielson and Dustin Rhodes.
This was really
and man, it was just a tremendous look. I know a lot of people wouldn't make sense of it, but you just have to understand is right around the time I started watching wrestling, Dustin was a rookie. And man, if they just told the story right, which I think they could do, and I know they can do, if they just told the story right, and Dustin could get like one run with the world heavyweight title.
You reckon?
Like a month run, and man, he could do it, and he would deserve it. That's why when I was watching that match, I was like, damn, is he gonna fucking beat Daniel Bryan? Because I mean, because they were the back and forth and the ring psychology and the facials and all that stuff and the in-ring work. You know, Dustin's been in the game for over 30 years. Bryan Danielson does what he does, and it was a tremendous match. They told a tremendous story. And man, if they just, like I said, if they could be done, it would be believable for him to give him a world title run just for like a month or something. But you know, they protect that title, which is good. You know, but I mean, it would be. I'm saying it would be believable. Yeah, because he deserves it. You know, he deserves it. Not like I can do a fucking 630 splash, fucking deserves it. No, he fucking deserves it. But I mean, that was my highlight of the week, man. I mean, you got 2 great talents going in there, and that seems to be what AEW is all about, making great matchups, guys that could go. They've done that with Bryan Danielson so far. Dustin, he never lets anybody down when he's in the ring. Yeah. He's always a great performer. And they just had anybody who wants to know what a good wrestling match is, turn on that match when you can, and man, just take a look at it. It was tremendous. They went 15 minutes, and it was every 15 minutes was great.
I'll say every Daniel Bryan match since he's joined AEW has meant something. Like, it's must see. You can't miss a Bryan Danielson match right now, because he's on an absolute different level. And I'm happy you mentioned that, and you gave, you know, the accolades as well to Dustin, because again, Dustin is someone I'm always batting for. I've got a whole video on my channel on how good Dustin is. I must have recorded it sometime last year, but I think it was I think maybe sometime after the Cody Dustin match that happened for AEW or one of the pay-per-views. I said, this guy is tremendous. I know his career, and you probably know more about it than myself. You know, there was a lot of stuff in terms of drugs and, you know, substance abuse and some other stuff in his career, which probably held him back from reaching these heights that you speak of now earlier on in his career. But I just feel like, and everything he's been given, from Goldust to Dustin and other gimmicks and stuff beforehand, and just as a quality of a worker, this guy is so good. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with a world title push. I understand sentimentally, yeah, he probably does deserve one. TNT maybe.
Yeah, definitely. But the reason I say it's because, well, way back in the day is that he missed his couple of chances at a world title run because, you know, in '94 when Hogan went into WCW, it's like, shit, well, it's fucking Hogan, you know, he's in there. And then so he was kind of like lingering there on the middle of the card. and then he goes to WWE, and he had the gold. They gave him the Gold Dust character, and that was like pre-Attitude Era, right? So that was even more scandalous back then. And he was going to the top of the card, and he was on top of the card. And as soon as they were thinking about either giving him a program with Brett and then Sean when he got the title, it was kind of like they had to pull back on the character a little bit, because I don't know if it was, there was a few organizations here within the United States or North America. I don't know if it was a parent teacher council or whatever, were complaining about the character and the overtures that he would make on TV and stuff. And I think he could have had, that was during a time he might have had a little run at the WWF world title at the time. I think it would have been befitting. But yeah, I mean, he could have a run with the TNT title now. But I like I said, if you built the story right, I mean, the world title, it wouldn't be unbelievable. It would be believable. But I mean, it's like if fucking Jericho could do it at 50 years old, I mean, you can believe that Dustin could do it, because you can see him. He's in tremendous shape. He looks better than a lot of the guys coming into the business,
I agree.
But yeah, it's just sentimental deals. But I mean, it could be done. But yeah, that was my highlight of the week, man. And like you said, Bryan Danielson, every match he's been in, is like you said, has meant something. And I really do think it's going to be him and Moxley at the end of the tournament, the finals. And
100%.
We're going to see it. And I don't know. I'm going to be excited to see that match, because I'm going to be there live. But I think it's just, I don't know if it's the contrast in styles that are going to clash. And I don't know how it's going to come out. If anybody can make magic of it, it's Daniel Bryanson, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we know now that it's going to be Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston in the next round. I think it's pretty much Bryan Danielson's going to kick his head off, and Moxley's going to reach the final and be like, that's my guy that you beat up. And I think this is maybe the beginnings of the Moxley heel turn. He even said on a promo during the show Dynamite that he doesn't care about all of this. He's basically just coming out and doing it, but he'll beat up everyone, he'll fight everyone. So yeah, I think his motivation may come through Bryan Danielson actually giving Eddie Kingston a pretty bad beating. And then yeah, we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, guys, Ignacio gave us a good match to watch. So if you haven't seen it, highlight of the week, Bryan Danielson versus the Natural Nightmare, Dustin Rhodes. And again, the women's Smackdown Women's Championship match from the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. I think those are two really good matches from this past week for you to check out. But guys, that is it. That is the show. Thank you for joining us. Please remember to smash the like button, subscribe to Wrestling Republic as well on YouTube, and we'll be back same time next week. Ignacio, any last words before we get out of here?
Nothing much. Just smash that like button. Keep on watching. Keep on commenting. And we'll see you next week.
That's right, guys. We will see you next week. Take care.